Yes, Australian Formula 4 is back after a 5-year hiatus. We are back here in Australia with this sensational open wheel series. We've had 2 races already this weekend, and they've both been won by Jimmy Physick. I'm Dan McCarthy, and I'll be talking you through this Australian Formula 4 race as it goes on. 25 minutes plus 1 lap here at the Shell V-Power Motorsports Park here in South Australia. About an hour's drive from the Adelaide CBD as you see the cars exit the lane and make their way around to the grid. Now with Australian Formula 4 returning, we have to thank Top Speed, who've been instrumental in making that happen. They run the series in the United Arab Emirates, and they also run Formula 4 in the Middle East as well. And they are the key people behind bringing this category back to the shores of Australia. I spoke to the man behind it, Cyril, earlier on in the weekend. Down here in the lane with Cyril from Top Speed, one of the organisers of the revived Australian Formula 4 Championship. Brilliant news to have Australian Formula 4 back in the country.
Yes, that's very good news for us. It was a real opportunity which have been put on the table by Motorsport Australia, which Top Speed cooperate with within the context of the organisation of the FDEA in Sepang. And Top Speed is the organizer of the Formula 4 Southeast Asia and Formula Regional and Formula 4 Middle East Championship as well, so we are not new to single-seater. And we thought that it was a real opportunity for this F4 Generation 2 Tatuus car with Halo to be introduced here in Australia and to give local drivers, young talented kids, an opportunity not only to discover that very cost-effective and safe car, but also a way to compete with that car which is used in Asia, in the Middle East and in Europe as well in national championships, and then score super license points, which is then an easier way for them to step up the ladder and at some point to go race overseas and join potentially more international F4 championships with Top Speed worldwide.
That's what I was going to say. It's really good that it is so closely aligned with those categories that you run overseas as well.
Yeah, it creates a real platform from Middle East to Asia Pac with the same car, which makes things easier for all of them for sure. And of course, AGI Sport, which is well represented this weekend, has already experienced the Formula 4 Southeast Asia and Formula 4 UAE Championships last season. And so they can talk about the product, they know how we operate, and I think more and more teams in Australia are going to see the opportunity for them to get young karters to single-seater and then to go race overseas within that comprehensive F4 single-seater platform which we operate in a very broad scale.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of course, the category, a good, strong field of youngsters, and then as well the Masters category as well.
Yeah, because it is what it is. We face some logistical issues, and all the cars, all the equipments arrived much later than expected, so it prevented us to organize pre-season tests for people interested in the category to come and jump in the car weeks ago. So everything has been a last-minute thing, I would say, but we have a decent grid, and it had become an opportunity not only for young drivers to come along, but also for masters to discover the car and to have fun that weekend. So it's at the end of the day, it's not a bad result, because in addition to the young drivers and the rookies, we have some masters here, and hopefully word of mouth will work, and more teams and drivers will join the series. The thing is that with round 2 being held at the Bend as well next month, together with Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, I think it makes things even more easier for more drivers to join at the Bend. And after that, we have a calendar with 5 races, 2 more in Australia after the Bend in June, and the last one in Sepang. But for the first time, after the third event, the fourth best drivers classified in F4 Australia will be selected and invited to go to attend the Formula Driver Academy Scouting in Sepang on 17, 18, 19 of September, which gives even more attractiveness to the F4 Australia this season.
In terms of the category, do you expect and hope numbers will grow going forwards in the coming rounds?
Yeah, obviously we have good expectations, but we needed to start somewhere, and the fact that it's been put together at the very last minute because of the logistical issues we faced put us in a situation which was not ideal in the first place, but with the numbers we have here, we have good reason to think that the grid will only grow by round 2 and all the way down for the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and thanks for bringing F4 back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great to chat with Cyril, really kind of generous with his time yesterday. And we can see from the onboard, Nathan Gotch, he'll start from just outside the top 5. He'll start from 7th position in this race, and he carries the onboard camera, the Shannon's onboard camera for this race. I actually had a chat with him and as well the AGI Sport team owner Adam Gotch yesterday as well. Down here in the lane with the Gotches, now they're pretty essential in this category at the moment. So Adam, talk us through everything that's been going on behind the scenes to make this possible, the revival of Australian Formula 4.
Yeah, look, we've been working on the return of Aussie F4 for at least 6 months now. We've been on the road since August last year. We did Asian F4, which then moved into the UAE F4, and it was a natural fit for us, for Australian F4 to return with the new Tatus car here. So here we are at the Bend, and we've got a 5-round championship this year, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to have the category back. Got a good championship ahead, for say 5 rounds, finishing off in Malaysia.
Yeah, that's right. We'll finish off in Malaysia. The Ferrari Driver Academy will be a few weeks after that, and then we'll start Asian F4 at the same circuit, so it's a good fit for us.
Absolutely. And Nathan, you're one of the drivers this weekend. The cars, of course, they've changed since F4 was last here in Australia. Talk us through the difference in the car, the chassis, etc.
Yeah, so this one's a Tatus chassis, much closer to a Formula 3 car, to be honest. It's got a bit of a good floor on it. It's a very light car, floating disc brakes, which makes it a much better brake pedal. So feels very similar to F3, just a little bit down on the power. Awesome to drive. First time I've driven an Anger, first time at the Bend, and yeah, I'm just getting used to it, but it's really, really awesome bit of gear.
How do you think it'll be for racing, particularly around the Bend? 2 rounds at the Bend, the first 2 rounds. So yeah, how do you think the racing's going to be within the category?
Yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. The guys at the front are, within a second. The Masters classes are getting closer and closer now that we've done a few laps here. Big long straight, you can get a toe down there, so you can have some fun down into turn 1 for sure. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Just going back to you, Adam, a lot of cars that you're running this weekend must be pretty manic for you at times.
Yeah, we're running 7 cars across 2 teams, so there's a lot of moving parts involved, and but it's we've run 6 before, so we'll just add another one. So it's all good.
Great to catch up with them yesterday, and really cool to have them a part of the series. Mentioning there, of course, that the first 2 rounds of this season taking place at this circuit, the Shell V-Power Motorsports Park. And then beyond that, we visit other parts of the country, Sydney Motorsport Park, Queensland Raceway, and then finishing at Sepang in Malaysia. As part of going international and really taking it on overseas. So I was just talking about this circuit. We've got 6 races here over the next month, 2 down, 4 to go. The final race of this round here right now. 18 corners make up the Bend Motorsport Park International Circuit, 4.95 kilometres in length. Nearly 1 kilometre long is this very straight down into turn number 1. a tight corner. You can go too wide, as we can see in the top left corner of the screen, but it's a really hard braking zone down there. This is a great overtaking opportunity. Seen lots of overtaking passes being made this weekend so far, and I expect that'll be no exception in this final Formula 4 race. 7, 8, 9 and 10, the ever-increasing tightening right-handers, and then the blind crest that is turn number 13, stalled on the final corner of Oran Park back in the day. Then what I call the stadium section, 14, 15, 16. Great place to watch the cars up close at this circuit. Turn number 17, always an overtaking opportunity, always a place where you see plenty of action. We saw it in the preceding race in Hyundai, some action at that corner. The lap record, John Magro in a Dallara F3 car. Interesting that Nathan Gotch is saying that this handles like a Formula 3 car, but just without the power, and that's what makes this Tatuus chassis so good. We see Blake Purdy, he's finished second in both of the races so far this weekend, but he'll start from third in this one. There's 2 qualifying sessions yesterday. One determined the race 1 grid, and the finishing order of that one determined the grid for race 2. Qualifying to determine the grid for this race. So we've got a bit of a shuffled up order in comparison to what we have seen so far. So it's going to be our first 2 races winner. I should word that a little bit better. The winner of races 1 and 2, Jimmy Physick, that starts from pole position in his machine. It's an AGI Sport 1-2 and a South Australian 1-2 with Nicholas Stati, another local, alongside him on the front row. So Stati, first time starting from the front row this weekend, and then Blake Purdy from third. And then beyond that, we have Seth Gilmore, the rookie, in 4th position. Sebastian Amadio in 5th alongside Mark Rosser, who won the Masters category earlier on today. Nathan Gotch, who we just spoke to, starting in 7th alongside, or not starting alongside, Joan Conti. We're hearing she failed to make it to the grid in time and will start from pit lane. JP Drake won race 1 in Masters, but he had to start from pit lane after he failed to make the start, and then had not 1 but 2 incidents out on the racetrack. He'll start from 9th, ahead of Nick Filippetto and Mark Wilson, who rounds out the field. I'm Dan McCarthy. Alongside me, as he has been all weekend long, is Mark Nancaro. Thanks for joining me, mate. Looking forward to this one.
About to go to the final race here at Formula Ford. I guess we'll be chafing the bit for this all weekend, so see some of the spectators had a great opportunity to do the pit walk down there, and they've all been cleared off, and we are ready to go here.
Absolutely.
And here comes these cars now, just on their formation lap, just bringing them around.
I said just before incorrectly, Stati was from South Australia. Stati is from Western Australia.
I was thinking the same thing.
So it's 1 and 3, the South Australians. In fact, 1, 3 and 5, in fact. Stati, as we say, from Perth. People at the top can see themselves on the big screen. That's the viewing deck at the top of the Ben Motorsport Park complex. Yes, give us a wave.
Yeah, that's a lot of the Jam Motorsport crew there.
It is.
Have a look at all the Jam T-shirts and hats up there. And they should be, because I've got plenty of cars involved in this particular field. In fact, 3 of them. So they've been busy also, not only with this category, also the prototypes here this weekend as normal. So it's a big crew on board in those garages for the weekend.
And the garage is where they're located is just about 200 metres behind where we are, just behind to the right-hand side of this current camera shot. So they are very much locals, to say the very least. But their best car starts from 3rd. It's an AGI 1-2 on the grid. Jimmy Physick has taken the first 2 in dominant fashion. He's got somebody else alongside him, though, at the start of this race. As we've seen in the first 2 races, like Formula 1, staggered start grid. And that does allow a little bit of margin. But in the second race, Stati made a poor start. And we'll be looking to rectify that one in this particular race. It's going to be a fascinating 25-minute plus 1 lap encounter, but can anybody stop the number 93 machine? We are racing.
And Pissick there, probably not as quick as he would have liked to have been off the start there. Not what we've seen in previous races. But Staddy was very clean. You can see he was all right behind there in second position and already keeping right on the tail there of our Pissick, who's been our race winner for the first 2 races. Looks like he's going to have a bit more of a challenge in the early part of this race. Blake Purdy got away clean as well.
For the second time in 2 races, Amadio has made a place off the start. He's immediately gotten past the rookie of Seth Gilmore, so he moves up into 4th position as we ride on board with Gotts through the fast. Left-hander just ahead of him was the red machine, that's Mark Rosser. But already, after making the place and taking 4th position, Amadio coming under immediate fire from Seth Gilmore, who'll be looking anyway down the bottom end of the course to try and retake that 4th position, as we say. A not great start, bogged down and allowed Amadio through. But the top Masters competitor, Rosser, is sitting there ready to pick up the pieces if any one of them makes a mistake. He's bolted. He has left his fellow Masters competitors a long way behind on the opening lap of this race. Running the number 81, of course, number 81 these days associated with another Australian in Oscar Piastri, of course, who's having a good weekend over in Miami. And that's where a lot of these youngsters want to take their careers, of course. We've seen it blossom people already in the past in this Australian Championship. Liam Lawson came through the Australian Formula 4 Championship in its previous iteration. So it just shows that the talent that can come through this category. Oh yeah, that was running wide.
Staddy very wide there. He's actually a little bit under pressure with Blake Purdy and the Nippers actually right behind him. Sticking to his guns there, Blake Purdy.
Seth Gilmore trying the outside on Sebastian Amadio, down on the run to turn number 1. He's broken late, he's pulled across and he's got the move. He hasn't run wide. That was a really nice executed pass from Seth Gilmore. We've seen that already this weekend. He might be a rookie, but he's certainly not showing it. Showing he's got experience well beyond his age, that's for certain. And Mark Rosser is really buying into this. This is the best we've seen any Masters competitor drive so far this weekend. He sits in 6th and is looking to overtake Sebastian Amadio on the racetrack down into turn number 6. A brilliant start for Rosser.
So he's the meat of the sandwich there, the Amadio, with, I think that's Gilmore, or Stardy, just is in front. Oh, it's Blake Purdy, is it? No, it's Stardy.
Yes.
So I was trying to pick out which car, all these gold and blue coloured cars there. There could be a little bit confusing. Certainly no problems with picking out Seb Amadio's car, the all black car there. So while he's trying to concentrate and keep in the car in front of him, he's got the car behind him, and there's Purdy there.
So yeah, here we are for 2nd position, Statty and Blake Purdy. Statty is done a bit of F4 competition during the summer months in Australia, racing overseas, won a couple of races in the Middle East Championship, performed very strongly over there and competed in the very, very competitive UAE Championship, where they have over 40 cars, an incredible field, and he was very, very often in the top quarter of that field, so good experience for him. Blake Purdy, on the other hand, a late addition to the grid, not too many laps coming into this weekend. Former S5000 competitor, though, taking to it like a duck to water, and he's having a bit of a look, a bit of a sniff down into turn number 1, but nowhere near close enough this time by. These two evenly matched in the last race. Staddy had to come through the field a bit more last race, but once he was in clear air, he was matching the pace of Purdy, and I said that these two would be equally matched, and we've seen that already in this one. At the front of the field, though, Physic, fastest lap of the race last time through. Big lunge here from Purdy from quite far back. He fills the hole that was left on the inside, but around the outside, Staddy's kept the momentum, and he's gonna hold the place. Great race in between these two youngsters. Statty at just 15 years old, really showing what a talent he will be in the future. Look out for that name in years to come. just 15 years of age, and showing how it is done, how to hold position without forcing another driver off the track or anything like that. It was clean, fair racing between these two youngsters, the West Aussie and the South Australian, really fighting hard early on in this race. Already 2 laps being completed, but all this fighting is allowing Jimmy Physick to skip away out the front of the field as they go around turn number 16 and down the hill to turn number 17. Just as you get to turn 17 though, it goes back uphill. You can brake a little bit later than what you think, and that's one of the challenges of this course. So much elevation around the 4.95 kilometre layout, and the GT competition tyres doing their job at gripping the cars to the road as well as they do. There we go again, Physick, another fastest lap, a 50.3 now. And these two behind continue to fight away. Where is Purdy stronger? Where could he make the move on Steady? He had a big lunge before at turn number 6. As we look further back, John Paul Drake is right on the tail of Filippetto and Gotch. So John Paul Drake's got a lot of green all around the nose cone. Green mirrors for Filippetto. Gotch is the completely black machine, where the onboard camera is mounted to. So there you can see the Joker-inspired livery, number 1 for John Paul Drake. Weekend that started so strongly for him, as we say, taking the race 1 win in the Masters division, but race 2 and this race so far have been very different. Here we go, a move for position. That is Ciconti, the 15-year-old lady recovering from her pit lane start, and a nice move, a well-executed manoeuvre on the inside of Wilson for 10th position down at turn number 17 last time around. So she moves up inside the top 10. You can see the colours on the left-hand side of the screen. Black is for effectively the outright cars, but they're all effectively in the outright class. Blue is for the Masters, so the elder statesmen, the AMs, as I've referred to them in several points during this weekend. And then the Reds, they're in their own little class, the rookies class, for people that have not driven Formula machinery prior to this year. So Gilmore doing a really good job to be ahead of Sebastian Amadio, somebody that did pretty well back in S5000, several top 10 places in that championship, including here in South Australia on the streets of Adelaide.
Yeah, it certainly was. I was keeping an eye on that John Paul Drake car. There was a bit similar situation what we saw in the previous race, trying to chase down a couple of cars in front of him. You can hold it all together. Here's the Purdy and Steady combination there. So Purdy not been able to get quite close enough to pick off a pass anywhere. So not too much has changed there. Just heading back down towards us. So they've been matching motors in second and third position. In fact, Steady probably looks a little bit stronger at the moment, just widening that gap a fraction as well, after Purdy's been chasing right on the back of that car. So some change, no change in that particular order. So Jimmy Physick has disappeared. He's in a world of his own, but both of these young drivers have done a terrific job there, holding it all together. Certainly Purdy being very patient here, I would have thought. Just biding his time. They are 25-minute races, so he's got plenty of laps to just stick to his guns here. And as he comes up behind Steady again in that camera shot.
There's a great prize on the line for these youngsters. If you top 5 in the championship at the end of round number 3, you automatically get to go to the Ferrari Academy camp in, I believe it's September, where you got a chance to potentially really prove yourself in front of Ferrari. And who knows, they may end up becoming Ferrari junior drivers and part of the Ferrari Academy. So a real amazing prize on the line for these youngsters if they deliver here in the first 3 rounds. And that's a real great incentive for some of these youngsters.
Just looking at the Purdy car there, very close under brakes here. The second car there of Nick Steady, much closer in that section of the track. And looking at the time there, just slightly quicker than the car in front of him. Wasn't too much difference there. So just still sticking to his guns, being very patient there. Just keeps chasing him around. Just waiting maybe for Stady to make that very slight error just to give him half a sniff. It's a great camera shot as they go across the top looking towards turn 7 there. It's a great view and a great part of the track. Coming down into the dip section there at turn 10. And there they go on the far part of the circuit.
These two are trading lap times. One lap one's faster, next lap the other one is faster. Purdy was faster last time through and he looks like he's gained a bit more on this particular lap. So it's toing and froing, ebbing and flowing as this race continues. 5 laps down already, 5 laps in the book. Physic has pulled out a 6.5 second lead. He is motored away. I saw him just prior to the start of this race throwing the ball against the wall. As a lot of young junior drivers do, it seems like a real good training exercise just to get the brain into motion. He actually dropped a ball and it rolled towards me, so I threw it back to him and said good luck for
didn't throw it too hard.
last race. No, I didn't.
No, sorry.
But nevertheless, he's a good young lad, is Jimmy Physic, and he's done a phenomenal job so far this weekend. Probably not quite so good at catching balls as I found out a few minutes ago as he is driving race cars, but anyway, he is leading by nearly 7 seconds over Stady, but this battle a bit further back has intensified. This is Gotch, Filippetto and John Paul Drake in the fight for second in the Masters category, 7th on the racetrack, and you can't really split them at the moment. You could throw a small picnic blanket over them, maybe even a hand towel in fact, as they cross the start-finish line to complete another lap, and all 3 of them setting PBs last time through despite being locked into this battle. So it's the 66, the 77 and the number 1. John Paul Drake isn't a defending champion or anything, he's just elected to run with that particular number as they exit the turn and roar down towards turn number 6. He's got a good run as Filippetto. Is he going to have a look at turn 6? No, because Gotch defends that one. Pulls over to the left. Drake's close, isn't he?
He got the nose just tucked under there. I thought he was trying to slip through. He made a mistake there at the previous race, so we don't want to see him do that again. Here they come down towards turn 10. So it's Gotch, Filippetto and Drake in that order. They're currently 7th, 8th and 9th position on track. Certainly no one's given an inch there.
He certainly knows his way around open wheel machinery, does Nathan Gotch, from New South Wales, raced XLs back in the day, but it's done a lot of driving in Formula race cars in New South Wales. A local category there, an open wheel category is Formula race cars in New South Wales, and he's done a lot of Ks in that particular category, and that's why he said these are a lot closer to a Formula 3 car than what the previous iteration Formula 4 cars were, but he's coming under increasing pressure from Filippetto behind. He himself has also driven in New South Wales Formula race cars. He's dabbled in all sorts of things, TA2, he's even driven RX-7s and the like as well. And he is the only person in this grid that raced in the original iteration of Australian Formula 4. He did one round, 2015 at Homebush, and he got a 6th place finish actually in the final race. As we look down towards turn number 1, he's getting closer and closer, is Filippetto, but he can't quite find a way through. I mentioned there that Filippetto drove at Homebush in 2015. A bloke called Thomas Randall won all 3 races that weekend, and hasn't Thomas Randall gone on to have a great career?
And the rest is history, as they say.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So
he's not the only supercar driver that's won this series either. Will Brown took a series as well.
He did, yeah, absolutely right.
So he was another one that carried on and went to that series.
Well, Tom Randall didn't actually win it. He came home just shy of taking the title. Yeah. But yes, you are correct. Will Brown has won the series. Tom Randall coming home as the runner-up in the inaugural season to Jordan Lloyd. So a good championship that was back in 2015. Other champions, Nick Rowe, Jaden Ojeda, and Lewis Leeds, but as you say, so many names have come through. Zane Goddard, just one that I can think off the top of my head. So many youngsters have come into and through this fantastic platform of motorsport. As we say, it launches you overseas to European Formula 3, British Formula 4 and the like, as we say. Jimmy Fisick, that was really
very close. Wow. Got the bit of the hurry up there from Filippetto.
I thought there was going to be contact.
Got the nose cone tucked right up underneath the rear of that car, so there must have been some sort of slight touch there. A little bit too close for comfort there.
Certainly is. They are nose to tail. They come around the final corner to complete another lap. Filippetto is in the slipstream. He's in the tow. You can tell that car. It's got the white front wing.
Here we go.
Was there contact? Let's have a look. Oh, so close. I don't even think you could get a cigarette paper between them. It was that close. He had a big look there at turn number 1. All of a sudden, the intensity within this, I feel, has lifted. They're really thinking about their passes. It's now a matter of time. Time is ticking. 9 minutes plus 1 lap to go. So he's got to make the move sooner rather than later. As we say, though, these GT competition tyres do seem to be really strong over the race duration. They don't fade like you see in some motor racing categories, open wheelers in particular. Think of Formula 1 after a couple of laps, they're half a second slower than what they were doing originally. Not these GT tyres. They are very, very durable and make for great racing in this open wheel category. Here we are. The fight for second seems to have intensified a little bit as well. Staddy was PB on the last lap, a couple of tenths faster than the man behind. Purdy will overall for the round hold second if he finishes where he is, 2 seconds and a third, whereas Stati unfortunately was demoted down to 5th for a starting infringement in race 1. Finished the race in 3rd, but yeah, 5-second penalty demoted him to 5th. He recovered to 3rd in the last race and qualified 2nd for this one and remains in 2nd. So not quite as a consistent weekend as what Blake Purdy has had in that machine on screen. The Nippies sponsored car, the first of the Jam Motorsport run machines this weekend. It's been pretty tight though, hasn't it, between the Jam Motorsport, the AGI and the Formula Race Academy cars. All three have really had cars up the front in both classes.
Should have. They've got plenty of cars available. Here's the Gotch, Filippetto and Drake combination again. What we sort of saw in the previous race, 7th, 8th and 9th position on track. Drake's a bit closer too. Up behind Filippetto there under brakes.
Well, he had a big twitch.
Yeah, he's a lot closer than he was on the previous lap. And while he's trying to defend his position, Gotch has just got away from the pair.
Oh, he's got a good run here, Drake. Surely he's going to have a go at turn 6, and he does. Late on the brakes. He did this move last time, last race, locked the rears and lost all the places, but he's made it stick this time. Number 1 car moves through, takes 8th place, and he's certainly got the pace to move, I think, into 7th as well.
Now he's got some clear air in front of him. He can chase down Nathan Gotch here. He's certainly got the pace at the moment. And he's just gapped him and Filippetto once he's got past him, so he won't have to worry about him too much now. That was a good pass there, a 6-2. Got it correct this time, and obviously the previous race he didn't quite do it as neat as that. But
no.
So it worked much better. Of course, it's a new car too for John Paul, so going to learn it's not driving not a prototype in this race, so it's a completely different cup of tea. And braked a little bit late there in that section. Just got up behind Nathan Gotch there under brakes.
He looks confident though, doesn't he, John Paul Drake? Looks very confident all around this circuit, but at the moment he's coming under a little bit of pressure once again from Filippetto as they exit the final corner. They're all pretty evenly separated. The margin between all three of them at the end of that lap, just 0.8 of a second. So head down towards turn number 1 once again. Only 5 minutes left on the clock. Looked like Filippetto was doing the attacking on Gotch, but in the end he was the one that lost the place to Drake. So what can Drake do now? Can he make the move successfully on Gotch? As you say, so far today in Sunday's action, Gotch all day has had cars right up his gearbox, but he has not put a foot wrong. He didn't earlier on, and so far in
Here he
this
goes,
one,
all on the inside. Drake, he doesn't mind this part of the track, does he? He can really sense a passing opportunity on the exit of 6 there. Got to climb up the hill to 7.
bit too far back on
to-
that occasion.
Yeah. Wasn't quite as close as it looked from that camera angle, but under brakes there at 10 again. Gets really close there. So he doesn't mind sort of the far outer reaches of the track. Right down the back there in sector 2, which is that part of the track. He's quite strong there. And in the hill they come.
I think you're right, absolutely. That's his strongest part of the track, Sector 2. He's also pretty good in what I've called the stadium section here. As I say, the best place, or one of the best places to watch general mission action from here at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park.
They go down towards 17. Oh, geez. I don't know, just backed off a bit there, Drake. I know we had an issue. Oh, gee. And that tightened things up quite considerably there. Don't think the gear change is quite as smooth as what he would have liked either. He just balked back a little bit and just fell into the clutches of Filippetto there.
He ran wide there as well, got all four wheels bouncing over the curbs, and that's allowed Filippetto to come back up the inside. He's trying everything he was there, John Paul Drake, and in the end it's meant that he's thrown the position back away, the one he worked so hard to get. Now it's the reset. He's got to do it all over again. He's thinking about turn 3.
He likes 6, remember?
He does.
And they're heading in that direction right now, so we'll see how close he is under brakes when they get to that section. And under brakes they go. I don't think he's quite close enough.
I do. I reckon he is, and he's forced Filippetto to defend. Surely not the outside, John. Surely.
No, not there.
Oh, Filippetto's
hang on a
run
minute.
deep. Filippetto's run deep. He's got the cut back, but he's now on the outside for the never-ending right-hander. I think he might have to slot back in behind, and does. Good clean racing, though, between these two.
Drake trying to look at the wide move there, goes around wide at 10. It's not going to do him any favours there, so he has to try and get back on the inside apex somewhere. That's a little bit closer, that's nice. But all that hard work to try and get in front of Filippetto, and unfortunately it's just those millisecond errors that cost you, and that's that type of racing it is. Oh, look at Purdy there up behind Staddy this time. He's a lot closer. Just over 2 minutes remaining here.
Yeah.
Race time plus 1 lap, so we'll have to see how close he can get.
Spin.
Filippetto, so that means that Drake will be back in front of him.
Not quite sure what happened there. We were too busy watching the brilliant action in the fight for second position. So we missed that one, but no doubt about it, John Paul Drake will have taken that position. And Ciconti as well will be pretty close, I reckon, to the tail. Oh, he's gone again. On dirty tyres. He's turned it into the corner, and around she goes. That's one of the things. If these tyres get dirty, slick tyres, this sort of thing can happen. It's a mistake all on it by himself. Very similar, lost the rear on turn-in.
Oh, look
and,
at it.
oh, dearie me, with dirty tyres around she goes. And then it was a copy-paste almost.
Look at all the gravel and turf that he's thrown on the track there too. It's going to make it really dirty down through there.
And that's where these two cars are right now. They'll turn left. And here is where that car rejoined. How dirty is it? Oh, not quite as bad as I thought, actually. I thought, like you, there was heaps of gravel and marbles on, but that didn't look too bad. We're hearing that Filippetto is still stuck on the track, so might have stalled there at the final corner. And I can see the waved yellow flags, but that's not a safety car, that's just local yellows at turn number 18. So
there he
no
is.
overtaking. Yeah,
He's got himself beached there, so he won't be going anywhere. So we're getting to the final bit of this race. In fact, we're under the minute, so I think officials will, might just carry on. So 2 laps remaining.
Of course, this is the opening round of the revived Australian Formula 4 Championship. We're back here at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park in a month's time. And the good news as well is that will also be live streamed on Blendline TV and the Australian Formula 4 Series channels. So that's fantastic news. So that will be from here, June 9 and 10, I believe it is. And then beyond that, we go to Queensland Raceway, mid-July, Sydney Motorsport Park at the start of August, and then, as I say, the Sepang International Circuit to round out proceedings later on in the year. September 8 and 9, round 5 to finish off the Australian Formula 4 Championship. A really good 5-round series, and we've seen how close and action-packed the racing has been all weekend long, and these two are so close on the racetrack. He's running out of opportunities now, is Blake Purdy. Not too many more chances to make a move. Just over 5 kilometres in distance. It's been a good lap, this one, from Staddy. Slightly gapped the car behind. I was just talking about that final round in Malaysia. That is the very track where Staddy took the race win in the Southeast Asian Championship last year. So he's got one advantage that nobody has at round number 5. He's not only been there, he's a race winner in a highly competitive Formula 4 Championship. So watch for him to be a real threat in that final round. But let's be honest, he's a real threat already. He's second in this race. He's put together a good round. 5th in race 1, 3rd in race 2, and he's looking to go one place better in this one. Sits second as we begin the final lap of the race. Purdy, you can see him with the yellow gloves working at the wheel. As we look a little bit further down the order at Sebastian Amadio running wide through the grass. Oh, you'll feel that through the back. Very little suspension travel in these F4 machines. He'll certainly have felt that as he's trying to get past Seth Gilmore in the fight for 4th position. So those two are pretty tight as well. There's action all around this circuit. We're looking and staying focused on this, though, the fight for 2nd position. I think that's the biggest it's been for quite some time. Staddy last time through, a 50.9. Purdy, a 51.0, so not much difference between them, only a 10th, and they're actually faster than Physic. I think that's the first time that's happened all weekend long. Physic really has been a step above the rest this weekend. Pole position in both qualifying sessions, 2 race wins, and he is now just 4 corners away from taking a clean sweep. Maximum points here at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Round number 1 in the AGI Sport backed and supported machine. A really, really strong performance from the South Aussie. As we say, he went to Britain last year, won a couple of races in British Formula 4 at Silverstone and at Snetterton. He's come back stronger than ever, and he's shown them a clean pair of heels. It's 3 out of 3 for Jimmy Physic. A brilliant performance this weekend. Oh, it's tight at the line behind. Mighty, mighty close. Purdy stole it.
Wow.
Purdy stole it at the line.
He's behind him the whole race there, and he's got him on the last turn.
Wow.
Oh, wow, what a finish.
Staddy looked slow coming out the exit of the final corner, and Purdy more than pounced. He took it with both hands and stole it by less than 0.2 of a second. Seth Gilmore came home in 4th ahead of Sebastian Amadio. There's a bit of a doubt in my mind, and I'm hearing in my ears as well. Did he overtake before the flag went green? That's the question. That spun car of Filippetto was still there at the final corner. We can see where the green flag is. That's just prior to the finish line, about 5 or 10 metres. Where was the move made? I think that might have to be looked at by the stewards. It was certainly opportunistic, and he did take it, but was it legal is the question. Was it still in the yellow flag zone, or did he time it to absolute perfection and pip him just as it went back to green? Not quite sure. We need a different camera angle for that one. But there's no doubt about the race winner, that's for sure. But we look a little bit further back to Joanne Chiconte. She's had a great round, the 15-year-old. Unfortunately, not the final race she was after, starting from pit lane. But she stayed out of trouble and comes home in position number 9. A good finish for her. It's good just to collect some points, get some points in the bag. And I'm pretty sure she'll be top 5 coming out of this round, which, as we say, will get her a position in the Ferrari Academy camp in a few months' time. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, that is, for any young racing driver. Brilliant first round from the Australian Formula 4 Championship. We wait Wilson, the final of the 10 finishers, to come across the line. Oh, Wilson finished a lap down, so that is everybody across the line. So Jimmy Physick taking it by 8.2 seconds, effectively. What a finish. Was it legal, though? That's the question. We await the steward's decision. Make sure you stay tuned to the Australian Formula 4 Championship website and socials to see the news on that one, whether or not it was a legal manoeuvre. Seth Gilmore in 4th place, ahead of Sebastian Amadio. Mark Rosser winning for the second time today the Masters category. I don't think he'll have got the round overall because he did not finish race number 1. So we'll see again, championship points-wise, post-event, who exactly took the Masters class. Gotch came home in 7th. Just ahead of John Paul Drake in the end. The margin just 1.7 seconds. Joan Ciconte in 9th and Mark Wilson rounding out the finishers. Nick Filippetto, a disappointing end to his weekend. He was right in that Gotch and Drake battle, but an unforced error not only at turn 14 but also at turn 18 sees him retire from the race. Well, what a return it is for Australian Formula 4. Brilliant round here at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. As I say, they will be back in just over a month's time in the second weekend of June, the long weekend here in South Australia. So make sure if you're watching, you get down here for that. We've got Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia here, as well as several other national categories. If you're watching on Blendline TV, make sure you stay with us. We've got a couple more exciting races to come. So we will be back after this on Blendline TV. For those watching on F4, we'll see you next time.
Of the race are currently playing out.
There you go. Good news. Yes.